on Prime Sports Northwest.
They like to pack the house at Yo Coliseum for gymnastics, and we could have a record crowd tonight. Number 1, Utah. Number 4, Oregon State. Bob Akamian, Judy Corbin with you. We're just about set to go with gymnastics action. Last year, these two teams drew a crowd of 6,543, a record for a regular season meet. And we've been delayed a few minutes so they can get everyone in the doors tonight. Biggest crowd ever in this building for gymnastics was 8,500 during the NCAA championships 2 years ago. It seats 9,000 for gymnastics. So the building that was made famous by Beaver basketball and Ralph Miller in the 70s has now become a haven for gymnastics, and they'll host the championship meet here in 1993. Here's a lineup of the events tonight. Oregon State will first compete on the vault, then the bars, the balance beam, followed by the floor. Utah will open on the bars, then go to vault, floor, and then the balance beam. So the traditional dual meet order in effect tonight for Utah and Oregon State. And the teams are taking the floor right now. Here they are, the number 1 ranked Utes of the University of Utah, Greg Marsden. 16th season as head coach, 7 national championships, and many believe this is his best team ever.
Sophomore from 29 Palms, California, Meredith King. Sophomore from Salt Lake City, Utah, Jenny Donaldson.
We'll be back with more from Corvallis. Get this meet underway after this timeout.
Our halls are filled with giants. Doug Engelbart, class of 1948.
Here they are, the Beavers of Oregon State University, the defending NCAA academic champions, highest team GPA of all gymnastics teams in the country last year, and that's always been a big goal for Coach Jim Turpin. There he is in his 7th season. Coached the U.S. World University Games team last year. He's had 3 All-Americans. One of them's an assistant coach now. Joyce Seelig, 7-time All-American. Sherry Knight now picking up a little bit of that slack this year. Oregon State will be on the vault first tonight. We're going to see one of the freshmen right away, Marilyn Anderson, followed by Michelle Sandoz, Amy Durham, Sherry Knight, Wendy Smith, and Kelly Baker, who came out of retirement to vault again this year. Utah will open on the bars. We'll see the freshmen right off the bat. Amy Trepanier and Jenny Donaldson, another freshman, Susan Metz, who's been outstanding herself. Kristen Canoyer, Shelley Scher, and Missy Marlowe. Those are 3 names we'll talk about quite a bit tonight. So we start on the vault. OSU up first, and again, one of the freshmen that Jim Turpin brought in, Marilyn Anderson from Tacoma. Freshman from Foss High School, Puget Sound School of Gymnastics, competed under Brad Loan. Has a 9.55 for her best this year through a handspring front tuck.
Marilyn's vault is rated at a 9.9. She comes. Good handspring front somersault. She had a little step on the landing. Could have had a little more distance on that vault. I'm sure coach is giving their instructions along that line.
We saw Marilyn here in the inter-squad meet early, and very nervous her first time in front of a large crowd. They had a couple thousand people here just to watch the inter-squad meet. Marilyn wasn't quite used to competing in front of that many people.
Marilyn's a young competitor, and so she's probably not used to these types of crowds.
Beavers already up to a good start on the vault. Not necessarily their strongest event, although with their youth, they should be better. Utah, an outstanding vault team. Second vault coming up now for Maryland.
Better vault for Maryland the second time around. You see, she really stuck that landing, which really impresses the judges. They like to see no steps.
I believe Maryland had a 9.5 on her first, and she should improve on this.
You see her second vault, she had a slight little leg break, but a good landing.
We'll give you Maryland's score in a moment. We shift over to the bars right now. Amy Trepanier freshman from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Amy opened with a straddle over long hang kip. Now she's doing some giant circles on the high bar to a reverse hex. A little bit of leg problems, but good difficulty. Working back up to the high bar. Giant swing with a full turn, which is a difficult move. She's preparing for her dismount. Toe on, front off with a half twist. That's a good routine to start with for University of Utah.
Ready at the ball runway for Oregon State is
Marilyn Anderson scored a 9.55, so that equals her season best. First score on the board for OSU. Now up, Michelle Sandoz, sophomore from Portland.
Michelle has one of the few 10-0 vaults on the OSU gymnastics team. She's doing a 1.5 twist on, half twist off the horse.
One of her more proficient events. Her best is a 9.6.
1.5 twist on. It's down.
There you see she did a full twist on, 1.5 twist off the horse. Little short on her landing. She's going to try and pull that second half twist all the way around.
Second vault again for Michelle Sandoz. Out of Wilson High School, completed for the Multnomah Athletic Club and also the National Academy in Eugene.
She comes again for a second run. Good vault as far as the flight is concerned. She's still a little short on that last twist, but by the end of the season, she should have that conquered.
Jenny Donaldson now up for Utah on the bars. Score for Trepanier, the first Utah competitor, was a 9.6.
This is Jenny Donaldson. She starts on the low bar, long hand kip up to high. Here she starts her giant circles with full twist, reverse hex. Oh, she hit her foot on the bar, and that's going to cost her a few tenths. Also stops her swing a little bit. She has to build back her strength. Another giant circle. Getting ready for her dismount, which is a double back flyaway. Slight step on landing. Probably not one of her best routines. She might have liked to have a little better swing, a little better execution, but sure had good difficulty.
And it looked like she had good momentum going before she caught her foot, too.
Yeah.
Up now for Oregon State on the vault, Amy Durham, a junior from Salt Lake, out of Utah country. How did Jim Turpin get her? Her best this year, 9.45.
Good vault for Amy. This girl likes to fly. She gets nice and high on her handspring front. She's a little problem with the landing, a slight step, which she'll have some tenths taken off for by the judges. Here we see her coming again. Good run, good repulsion. Tucks up really nice. Little hop on landing. She could have opened it just a little sooner.
Amy finished really strong last year. Pac-10 meet and at the regional, she had her best marks of the season.
She's really an improved gymnast.
It's 9.6, 9.7 from the judges for
Ready
the
on
first
the
vault.
uneven parallel bars for Utah. This is Suzanne
Comes
Metz.
your second vault. Oh. You saw her fall forward. Not quite as much flight on the second vault. Didn't get open soon enough to land it. And she'll definitely want to take that first score. Here we see her on the second vault. Coming forward, she opens a little bit late, doesn't know where the floor is, and loses her balance.
Now we go back to the bars. Another one of the super frosh, Susan Metz from Margate, Florida. 5 feet tall, already has a 9.9 on the bars. Scored that last week at Penn State.
Susan started the same as the other gymnasts. Although that's a full twisting reverse hack, which is a very difficult move. It's really hard to get your direction on that move. She's just taking a risk by doing it. Working on both bars. High bar and low bar, giant circles. Whoa! She tried to turn it at the top of the bar, which is what the gymnasts want to do, and she lost her swing, and all she could do was fall down onto the floor. That's a 5/10 break, and not a good way for the University of Utah to start off this meet in the first rotation. They've had a couple breaks through their first 3 gymnasts. routine. Clean landing, but I'm sure she's disappointed with that performance.
She's not happy, obviously, with that. Utah's best on the vault, but the bars have been their second best performance as a team this year. Already a couple of bobbles.
Here we see her fall on the bars. You could see she was going up to the bar, and she just didn't have enough to get to the top and lost her grip.
On the vault runway now, Shari Knight, sophomore from Eugene.
Nice vault for Shari. She had good flight off of the horse. She repulsed a little bit late, so you saw her going forward instead of up in the air, which is why she had a hard time controlling her balance at the end. Here you see a repeat of that vault. You can see just a little bit forward, probably be a 2 3/10 deduction from the judges. Again, that vault's valued at a 9.9.
For those of you keeping score at home, Amy Durham scored a 9.65, the last Beaver vaulter.
Shari's capable of sticking that landing, and I'm sure she's going to try to do that in the second vault.
Second run now for Shari Knight.
Better vault for Shari. She's a little more sure on her landing. She still had a hop, but it wasn't as out of balance as the first time. She'll probably want that score.
Well, he scored her, or at least one judge had her a 9.7 on the first one.
Shari's good in every event. She should be in the 9.7, 9.8 on every event.
Here we go with one of the aces of the Utah squad. That is Shelley Scher. Well, they're going out of order from the rotation they gave us beforehand. This should be Kristen Knoyer, but Scher is up.
Could be Kristen's had some injury problems. It could be they just pulled her from the lineup.
Yeah, there was a doubt if she'd do one of the events, and she was scheduled to go no matter what on the bars. And now we can see Utah assistant coach Jim Stevenson there at the judges table. So obviously the judges are questioning this too.
Shelley has a real interesting routine when we see her on the bar. She does some moves that no other gymnasts do.
And it's now official. The judges say go. Here's Shelley Scher.
Watch this routine. It should be dynamite.
She scored a 9.7 with it at Penn State.
Straddle over long hang tip. Pass to handstand giant swing. That's called a ginger. It's one of her release moves. She does several in this routine. That's a Baroni. Here she is doing her giant swings, getting ready for her dismount with the combination.
Well, that Veronin, an old men's move that Missy Marlowe started doing last year. She was the only woman in the country doing it. Now Shelley has picked it up. Wendy Smith now up for Oregon State on the vault runway. Sophomore from Minnesota. Scored a 9.8 last week at the Husky Invitation.
Handspring front vault. This is one of Wendy's better events. And we saw a very strong repulsion off the horse from Wendy, which is something we haven't seen from the gymnast so far. Look how quickly she pushes off the horse and grabs and tucks in the air. Little hop on landing, but that's an excellent vault.
Wendy Smith, who's battled so long with knee injuries for 2 seasons, did a lot of weight work in the off season. Jim Turpin says she's about 25% stronger.
Wendy getting ready to do her second vault. I'm sure she'd really like to nail this landing and get a good score.
Boy, she scored a 9.8 on the first one, and that one's even better.
She had a little trouble with the landing on the second vault. She opened a little bit late and kind of had to move backwards in order to catch her landing so that she didn't fall on her seat.
Up for the Utes is Kristen Knoyer on the other
She
side.
saves it.
Really does.
Good
'Cause
vault.
you're almost doomed at that point, but
That's
she
right.
held her center of gravity. Wow. This is a good vaulting rotation so far for OSU. We're going back to the bars now. Well, here's Knoyer, so they're just going out of sequence a little bit.
Kristen starts on the low bar, moves to the high bar. Giant circle with a full turn. There you see a beater. Her release move. Giant circle. These are forward giants. I think that's where she was planning to do another release move, and she just wasn't quite ready for it. Her dismount, a flyaway with a full twist. Again, we see a Utah gymnast with a little break in the routine. I think of their 5 competitors, only one of them has managed to get through a full routine without a break. So we see her trying to go up to the high bar and just not being able to get her rotation. Has to put her feet on the bars and continue in the other direction.
Kelly Baker is the final OSU vaulter. Retired from gymnastics last year, transferred to the UW, was just going to go to school there, maybe play basketball or run track for her last year. Ends up coming back to vault, and she holds the OSU record, 9.8. Wendy Smith scored a 9.8, by the way, for OSU on the last conference last week.
Kelly does a front handspring front somersault, also rated at a 9.9. This is a good event for Kelly. She was a little short on her landing, needs to open up a little sooner, get a little more repulsion.
Kelly Baker down for her second run. She scored a 9.45 at the Husky Classic last week, and the Beavers won a good battle with Arizona State. Preliminary scores, judges have Baker 9.6, 9.6 for that first one.
She's capable of a better vault. She's capable of a 9.8.
See, she's got those knee braces that a lot of basketball players wear, those support thongs. And there's some debate whether those really work or if it's just psychological. She's out there.
Kelly runs hard. It's pretty good repulsion. Still could have been a little higher, but it's a better vault for her.
Took off from real early on the board, too.
I think she'll be happy with this score.
Well, she'll have at least a 9.6. Now the final.
You see a little step on the landing there. Here's her second vault. Again, the step on the landing is going to cost her a few tenths.
And now we go to the bars. Missy Marlowe, who scored a perfect 10 twice in this event.
Missy went straight to the high bar for her opening. There you saw Veronin.
Good, miss. Come on.
She's doing some work on the low bar. Long hand kips. Back up to the high bar. She's got excellent execution. She's just flawless. Did her second release move, which is a reverse half. Back to giant swings. Double flyaway. That was an outstanding routine. Utah needed that routine. They needed a routine without a break in it.
And they get it. That might save the rotation. We are through round 1 here in Corvallis. Utah wrapping it up on the bars. Missy Marlowe, OSU in the vault, and we'll be back for rotation number 2 after this timeout.
Racing fans know nothing can match the speed, power, and action of NASCAR. The best drivers in the world pushing 200 miles an hour in heart-stopping racing excitement. And nothing brings you closer to the action than the NASCAR Video Collection. Each 1-hour cassette takes you behind the scenes with exclusive footage you won't see anywhere else. Get an insider's view of the developments in America's fastest-growing sport. You can start your NASCAR Video Collection at this special introductory price of only $9.95. Other cassettes will follow about every month for the regular price. There's no obligation. Cancel anytime. Join the NASCAR video team now. It's the inside track to America's ultimate motorsport, NASCAR.
To order your first 60-minute NASCAR video, call now, toll-free, 1-800-854-6100. Use your credit card, get the special introductory price of only $9.95. Call now, 1-800-854-6100. That's 1-800-854-6100.
Don't miss the musical rendition of The Wiz, brought to you by Gonzaga University's High Performance Dance Club, February 19th and 20th at the Met. This high-energy dance extravaganza
clearance sale. See our selection of living rooms, dining rooms, and more. It's your chance for our lowest prices ever on quality furniture. It's Sylvan Furniture's $3 million pre-inventory sale. Store-wide savings and drastic price reductions for a limited time. See our ad in this weekend's newspaper. Sylvan Furniture's pre-inventory clearance sale. Everything's priced to move now.
Well, the Beavers get a break. They are closer than they might expect to be after the first rotation. Their best vault rotation of the year, 48.45. Utah struggling a little bit on the bars. They're 48.5. Here's how the all-around battle stands. Missy Marlowe scored a 9.9 on that bar routine you just saw, and she is the top all around through one rotation. So now we switch. Oregon State goes to the uneven bars. Utah to the vault runway. And here's how the Utes will run. Shelly Scher is going to lead off. Kelly Woolsey, the third of that freshman trio. Kristen Kanoyer, Susan Metz, Meredith King, who we'll see for the first time, and of course, Missy Marlowe wrapping it up. For Oregon State on the bars, Leslie Hammond will lead off, followed by freshman Nicole Jensen, Donna Linder, Amy Durham, Tracy Crover, and Shari Knight. And here we go on the vault runway. The senior, Shelly Scher, 9.7 already this year.
Lots of concentration goes into vaulting. It's a quick event, and you really have to think fast. Shelly does a handspring front tuck, valued at a 9.9. And her first vault was a good vault. It's a good leadoff vault for the Utes. They need to get a score if they want to get ahead here.
Vault may be the toughest event to get a full rotation out of, and Greg Marsden thinks this may be his best group ever.
Shelly had nice execution on that vault. She had a little hop on the landing, which will cost her a few tenths.
The Utes stuck everything at Penn State. Had a great rotation. That really keyed them towards their big score. They had a 195 at Penn State.
We see Shelly's second vault. It's a little short on repulsion. She opens up real early, jams into her knees, and her finger, it looks like. She'll take a 5/10 fall. I'm sure that hurt. Here you see as she charges forward, doesn't open up soon enough, jams her heels into the mat, and that hurts.
Looks like Shelly's first vault will score, and we'll have that for you in a moment. Leading off on the bars for OSU, Leslie Hammond, 5'1" junior from Clackamas, Oregon.
Leslie does it straddle through, immediate to the high bar. She's doing her giant circles, reverse hex. Straddle back to the low bar. Gets her direction change, and her low bar moves out of the way. Clear hip handstand. Getting ready for a dismount, which is a double back flyaway.
Leslie Hammond set a PR last week at the Husky Invitational 9.6, and she may have just topped that.
Leslie had a clean routine. Her swing is a little bit tight, but she's really working hard. Nice double back flyaway, good landing.
Stuck it well. That'll be a nice mark for Hammond. We go back to the vault runway for Utah. Kelly Woolsey, freshman from Lethbridge, Alberta. Two-time Canadian national team, was in the 90 Goodwill games. Score for Shelly Scher, a 9.7. That was from her first vault.
That was a handspring front tuck also. We've seen lots of those tonight, so the judges can make some good comparisons.
Crowd is reacting to the judges' individual scores for Hammond. Looks like 9.6s.
Here's Kelly's vault. Leg separation going up in the air. She's got good flight, good repulsion, a step on landing.
Second vault coming up for Kelly Woolsey.
The hardest part about vaulting is to get off the horse as quickly as possible so that you can make your somersault or your twist and have a good landing. Second vault is the same vault, only she does it in the pike position. Nice job.
She scored well at Penn State, a 9.85. in only her second meet.
Here's the handspring. You see that her knees aren't bent this time. Her knees are straight. Opens it up. Has a little hop on the landing, but does a good job. Good vault.
Well, they gave her a 9.7 the first time, and I think she's going to improve on that. Prelims of 9.8 and 9.9, so that's going to be another good meet for Woolsey on the vault. Up now for OSU on the bars is Nicole Jensen, the freshman from Clovis, California. The score for Hammond first on the bars was 9.65. Crowd didn't like it, but it was her personal best.
We've seen Nicole do 2 release moves at this point. She's worked both on the low bar and high bar. She's got a solid routine going this time. Here she's working up to her dismount with giant circles. With double back. Maybe got a 10th on the landing, but a very clean routine.
Jim Turpin says this is her best event. Wants to get her worked in early on the bars this year.
Here we see Nicole doing her giant circles into immediate double back flyaway. 1 step on the landing.
Back to the vault, Kristen Kanoyer. Woolsey scored a 9.85.
That was a handspring front with a half turn before landing. Kristen did a good job. Pretty good flight. This is a difficult job to do. It's a 10-0 vault. You see her go up in the air, front somersault, and then she half twists before she lands. She's got a little bit of execution problems, which she can improve on.
Prelim marks 9.6, 9.7 from the judges. There's the Utes mark against Penn State, 49.15.
Utah has a lot of 10-0 vaults, which is the highest rating, which Oregon State didn't have.
Okay, Kristen scored a 9.75 in her first vault. Here's number 2.
Same vault again. Good vault. She had good flight. She still has the same leg problems. Maybe worth a 10th or 2.
And that will probably stand out to 9.75.
Here we see her second vault. See her really pushing her legs forward with that arch in her back. And you can see the leg separation, but that's a tough vault to do.
Up now for Oregon State, Donna Linder, senior, another Utah gal that the Beavers stole away from University of Utah. She's from Sandy.
Donna started with a straddle over mountain, immediately moved to the high bar. We see her first release move, which is a reverse heck. Now she's back on the low bar. Giant circle, another giant circle, toe on front. Very clean routine, very clean. One thing about Dawn is that her execution is very good. She keeps her toes pointed and she has good swing.
Now the Beavers have had a good mark on the bars so far this year. It's 4th best in the country. Their 2nd best event as a team so far this year, and they're really hitting it well tonight.
They've had an excellent bar set so far.
Up now for Utah, Susan Metz, the freshman. Mark for Kanoyer. She matched that 9.75 with her second vault, so put that down. 9.75 for Kanoyer.
Susan Metz, she does a handspring front with a half twist before landing. Same vault, valued at a 10.0. She was very clean. I thought she did an excellent vault. The judges will be hard-pressed to find too many deductions, maybe a little on the landing. Good repulsion off the horse.
Had the legs come apart a little bit, but maybe a little less noticeable than Kanoyer.
Well, she's got good flight, and so it's a little harder to see. One hop on landing. So far, I'm really impressed with Utah's vaulting. They're doing the 10-0 vaults, which is what it's going to take at Nationals to win it.
9.8 on that first vault.
Same vault. She's short on her landing. She just didn't open up soon enough. She's leaning forward and loses her balance because of it. So she'll take her first vault score.
It looks like a 9-8 for Metz.
Good height. Opens up short, doesn't get her chest up. Has to take one big step forward so that she doesn't lose her balance altogether.
And I'll tell you, she's been on the ball because Metz had a 9-9 at that Penn State meet last week. Here's Amy Durham now for Oregon State on the bars. Give Donna Linder a 9.75, a career high.
We saw her working from the low bar to the high bar. There's her Ginger release move. She's swinging very well. Amy has a little bit problems with leg break. She really has to work at keeping her legs together and her toes pointed. Good dismount, which is a toe on front with a half twist. Solid routine. So far, the Beavers are keeping up.
It's a good start, and there's so much momentum in gymnastics, and this crowd certainly doesn't hurt either.
Here we see Amy getting ready to do her dismount. One foot, then the second. She'll shoot off front twist with a half turn. Excellent landing.
Up now for Utah on the vault runway. Meredith King, the sophomore out of 29 Palms, California. Vault specialist, had a 9.8 last weekend.
Meredith opens with an excellent handspring front, valued at 9.9. She's had the best flight so far of any gymnast on that particular vault that we've seen tonight. She's certainly capable of twisting or turning that vault. She's so high. Watch her push off the horse really hard and grab her knees tight. She has one hop on landing. That's a good vault.
Crowd again reacting a bit adversely to the bar judging. Now, so far it appears the vault scores have been a tad better for both teams. That's a 9.8 for King in that first vault. She was a walk-on 2 years ago. Ended up being the leadoff vaulter a year ago.
Meredith tried a vault valued at 10.0, which was a handspring front pike. She opened up way too soon, had her heels out in front of her, and could do nothing but sit down.
So she'll keep that 9.8. Utah has 3 vaults of 9.8 or better so far. Missy Marlowe still to come. We go back to the bars now, where Tracy Crover, the sophomore from Boring, Oregon, set to go. The last mark for Amy Durham was a 9.75, and the crowd wanted something a little better.
I think that's a fair mark for Amy. She had a little bit of execution breaks in her routine.
On bars and ready is Tracy Crover.
Crover was the youngster last year who was a freshman, came on and was very impressive during the season. She had a big meet against Utah. And the Beavers win.
I like Tracy on the uneven bars. She's really clean. Look how she points her toes. Has good form and execution. There's a Jaeger. Her release move. She's worked both bars. Nice handstands. She just looks like she's floating from bar to bar. Giant circles. Clear hip heck back, which is her dismount. Tough dismount. That was an excellent routine. That's the best one we've seen so far.
Tracy Crover. There you see Joyce Seelig, who was pretty fair on the bars herself. Congratulating her along with Coach Turpin. We get another look now, Tracy.
Here we're going to see her dismount, which is a hecht. She never touches the bar except with her hands. Tuck back. That's what they call a D move, or a risky move. And she'll get some extra bonus credit for that.
Here's Missy Marlowe, the Utah record holder in the vault.
Missy does a handspring front. She has outstanding flight.
So you're talking about flight. That's far and away the best for Utah.
Look how she's really far from the horse when she lands. She could have a little better landing, but there's not too much more to improve on that vault.
And there's a look at it from the ground up.
You see Missy push off the horse real fast. Look how far away she is from the horse when she lands. A little step on the landing, but excellent vault. I'm sure she'll probably try something a little different for her second vault. She's certainly capable of it. Yep, here she comes, handspring, front somersault, but she's in the pike position, which is rated at a 10-0.
Now, Utah has stumbled a bit so far, but Missy Marlowe has been right on. Make sure you get her score before we go away from this rotation. See prelims of 9-9 up there.
Good pike position. Look how she pulls her body into her chest, opens it up, has a hop-on landing, but an excellent vault.
Now the final OSU bar routine coming up. None other than Shari Knight. 9-9 last week.
This is an excellent event for Shari. She starts on the high bar, hop to a handstand, front giant circles, half turn, reverse hex, very clean. Now moves to the low bar, getting her direction change out of the way. Back up to the high bar, giant circle with a full twist. Another giant circle ready for her dismount, which is a tuck somersault. Did 2 somersaults before landing. Saw her open up just a touch soon, so she had to take a step. And that's the only execution break I see in Shari's routine. Here we see her getting ready for a giant circle. She's winding up for that dismount. Double back somersault. 1 step forward is going to cost her a 10. Still should be a good score for Shari.
Well, 2 tremendous rounds for Oregon State. Prelim scores of 9-9 for Shari Knight. And here it comes now. We'll give it to you before we go away. The crowd likes it. A 9-9 last week, another 9-9, matching her season best. And OSU is making a run at the #1 ranked team. We'll be back with more from Corvallis.
On Prime Sports Northwest.
Bob Akemi and Judy Corwin with you from Gill Coliseum in Corvallis. We're on our way to a tremendous gymnastics meet finale tonight between Oregon State and Utah. Ahead on Prime Sports Northwest, NHL hockey. The Islanders and the LA Kings Tuesday night live at 7:30 right here on Prime Sports Northwest. Through 2 rotations, here's how we stand. Utah 97.55, the Beavers 97.3. Both teams on pace for outstanding scores. The individual all-around, no surprise that Missy Marlowe continues to lead her battle with Shari Knight. It's really between those two for the all-around tonight. Utah really saved themselves with great vaults and difficult vaults in their round. Coming up now, here are the rotations. First for Oregon State on the beam, we'll see Leslie Hammond, Jennifer McMullen, Michelle Sandoz, Amy Durham, Tracy Krober, and Shari Knight. And Utah on the floor, where they have been dynamic in the past. Susan Metz, the freshman, leads off, followed by Donaldson, Tracy Richard, Shelley Scher, Kristen Knoyer, and Missy Marlowe. Judy, you said it just moments ago. The difference right now was Utah's vaulting, the difficulty of their vaults.
They were doing 10-0 vaults. Oregon State only had 1 10-0 vault. The rest of their vaults were 9-9. And so, you know, the meet is only a few tenths apart difference between the 2 teams. And really, both teams have performed very well. Utah had a little bit of break on the bars, which OSU took advantage of. And I just see the difference in the meet on the vaulting.
And Jim Turpin did launch an inquiry into the scoring on the bars. No basis, so the scores remain the same. There was some question of the bar scoring. We move along, though, to the 3rd rotation. Here's Leslie Hammond.
The team that hits beam in this meet is going to win it. I guarantee you, as close as this score is. So Leslie wants to start off very well, very strong. Press up to a handstand. She gives us a nice little pose, showing us her strength and flexibility.
Good first balance move.
OSU needs to be solid. They need to work the beam very well, not cautiously. Leslie with her flight moves, 2 back handsprings. That meets her tumbling requirement on the beam. She's showing us some leaps. Jumps, and now she goes into a flexibility move, which is a straddle split and kind of an unusual hip roll, showing us a little bit of creativity on the beam. There's her dance move to an acrobatic move, which is a requirement for the gymnast. She had a slight bobble on that move. Full turn, which is also a requirement. So far, she's stuck her moves. Round off, full twist off. The routine was not packed with difficulty, but she didn't fall, and that's very important at this point. You want to start with a good routine, no falls, just make it clean.
And Leslie did have a bit of trouble at the Husky Invitational, her best score coming against UCLA in the opener.
Here we see her tumbling move, which is 2 back flip-flops. She's very square onto the beam, very solid.
Leslie Hammond on the beam. We now go to the floor, and here's the freshman, Suzanne Metz from Florida.
Floor exercise is such a fun event to watch. She opens with a flip-flop, double back in the pike position. Very strong opening. We're going to see some combination tumbling from the gymnast tonight.
Utah, as always, going with some very strong music.
Here's her second tumbling run, which is the Arabian 1 1/4, right to her stomach. It's very clean. We see the gymnasts are doing more turning, twisting, leap moves, which the judges want to see. And they're using all of the floor exercise areas as much as possible. Lots of traveling, lots of direction changes. She's very creative the way she moves in and out of her dance moves. There's a turn on the floor. She's getting ready for her last tumbling line, her dismount. Double full twist. It's a nice routine. Again, it wasn't loaded with difficulty, but a very good routine to start off the meet with. Both teams are starting off this second half solid.
And again, it is important at this point in the meet, too, to really focus.
There you saw Susan's Arabian 1 1/4 right to her stomach. Slightest miss on that move, and it can really hurt. And here's one of her tumbling lines, her dismount, which is a double twist. Very clean finish.
Prelim judges scores 9.7s, it looks like. Now for OSU, Jennifer McMullen. Leslie Hammond's score was a 9.3, by the way, leading off for OSU.
This is Jennifer McMullen. She's been injured, and they really need her on this event, so they're hoping that she can hit for them and get them back on the beam, if you'll excuse the pun.
As she pulled a hamstring during the I think it was during warm-ups for the inter squad, wasn't it?
The Beavers had some difficulty on this event in Seattle last weekend. Back walk over flip-flop, which is her tumbling move on the beam.
Jim Turpin said there's a little difference now between the NCAA standard and the practice beam the Beavers had. The edges were a little different. It was troubling them once they got into meets.
Her leap jump series. She's had a few little bobbles, but so far, all minor. Pike jump. Her front handspring on the beam. Again, you can see that she's having just a little bit of trouble working out of her moves, and that could be due to the fact that she's been injured and she hasn't had the opportunity to do as many repetitions on the beam as she'd like.
A nice landing for Jennifer McMullen, senior from Fair Oaks, California.
Again, a clean routine. Still short on difficulty. It could have had more difficulty, and I'm sure that Jennifer attributes that to her injury.
Let's take a look at her mount again.
She jumps off the board into an immediate split with no hands. That's a hard mount to control. Moves on the beam to a little bit of creativity and shoulder stand.
A nice routine from McMullen. Prelims of 9.5. We go to the floor. Here's Jenny Donaldson, the sophomore from Murray.
Again, more strong music from Utah. Double back pike to open up her routine. Clean opening. These teams have the same choreographer. Mary Wright is the choreographer for both the University of Utah and Oregon State.
And of course, next year you can't bring in the outside choreographer, and Jim Turpin's not looking forward to losing the services of Mary.
Second tumbling line is a double full twist. So far, we haven't seen quite as many turning leap moves from Jenny, but there was a real nice scissor split leap, very high. There we see her jumping combination, getting ready for her last tumbling line. She does a full twist to a punch 1 1/4. Strong finish. That's a strong finish. You're a little bit out of gas when you get into that tumbling line, so if you can do something difficult, the judges tend to give you a little extra credit.
Well, Jenny didn't get to compete here last year, and this hurt Utah a little bit depth-wise. She hurt herself right before the meet during warm-ups.
Here we'll see one of Jenny's tumbling runs. Round off flip-flop. Full twist, double twist. That was her middle line.
Now prelim scores a 9.8.
Here's her last line. She's going to do a full twist, immediately punch front 1 1/4 to her stomach.
Jenny Donaldson, 9.8 for Donaldson. And now we'll jump right up on the beam with Michelle Sandoz. This is her best event.
Michelle does a side somersault, which is hard to do on the beam. It's hard to tumble or turn sideways because it's blind. There's her leap jump series. Michelle's moving very smoothly. There's a break in her routine, and that's going to cost her some tenths. It's almost like a fall.
We try to hang on to it for so long and it becomes more obvious.
She's still working very well on the beam. Her rhythm is good. Kick over back handspring. Shows a little bit of style. She works well on her toes. She's getting ready for her dismount, which is an aerial cartwheel into another aerial back full.
Michelle Sandoz. Previous scores for OSU, Leslie Hammond was a 9.3. McMullen, as we said, a 9.5.
She's had a little break between her tumbling pass there, getting ready to go into her dismount.
Look at it.
You see that dismount. See how narrow that balance beam really is.
On the floor now for Utah, the junior Tracy Richard, who's really been limited in her events this year because of all the youth they've brought in. She's had a fight just to keep her spot in the rotations. Junior from Northampton, Pennsylvania.
Really upbeat music. Music is fun that these college athletes work to. Double back in the pike position as her opening tumbling line. Nice turning leaps. She's got a lot of flair, a lot of style.
She's an All-American on the floor of the last 2 NCAA championship meets.
She does a full twist to an immediate 1 1/4 somersault. And there's a little style in her routine. She's having a great time out there. Likes the big crowd. and she's playing up to them. Very solid turn. You can see the difference in her routine. She's got lots of turning, leaping combinations in her transition, and then she does difficult tumbling in between. There's an Arabian 1 1/4, which is a strong tumbling skill to finish with for her last line.
Very nice. Tracy Richard.
That was a fun routine to watch.
And she's used to performing in front of the big crowds. There are no slouches in Salt Lake. They can put 15,000 in the Huntsman Center, and they do it every year.
Teams don't like to go to Utah to compete.
No, we talked.
Definitely a hometown crowd.
Yeah, we talked so much about last year OSU winning here. Earlier in the season, they were beaten rather soundly in Salt Lake. Never look at Tracy Richard. Back up in the beam now for OSU. Amy Durham, 9.45, the last score for Sandoz for Oregon State.
Really interesting. I liked her mount. She did a step up into an immediate switch jump. It may not have looked too hard, but it's more difficult than it looks. Amy getting ready for a tumbling line. She does a cartwheel to a layout. And her leap. Back handspring to an immediate jump, which she must show an acrobatic move into a dance move. So far, so good for Amy. She's working the beam pretty well. Her rhythm is good. She doesn't look nervous at all. Although you can really get butterflies working on 4 inches.
She managed to do it in the regionals last year. At the OSU record, 9.75.
Back handspring, one arm back handspring to a full twist. Nice routine for Amy Durham. OSU has hit their beam routines. They've had no falls at all, and that's going to be a key in this meet. Here we're going to see Amy's dismount. Watch, she does a flip-flop. She does the same move on one arm and then tumbles out of it. Full twist, good landing, not a step.
And this great crowd shows its appreciation. Durham will finish so strong in every event last year.
Corvallis is a great gymnastics crowd. The people here know the sport, and they appreciate a good routine.
Here's one of Utah's best on the floor, one of the best ever in the country, Shelly Scher.
Double back pike opening. She's just flawless. That was a beautiful double back pike. I've never asked Shelly if this is her favorite event, but when she performs it, it sure looks that way.
They had 2 years ago at the NCAA championship. She set this place on fire with her floor routine.
Here we go with her second tumbling run. Whoa, she does a full twisting somersault.
Yeah, she has always performed well in this building, too.
See some Shelly Scher style. Very strong beat to all of their music. These girls like a good beat and good upbeat routines. Whoa, she does an Arabian 1 1/4 in the laid out position.
Spectacular. Shelly Scher.
Shelly always comes up with something different in her routines every year. It's always nice to see some of her creativity.
Boy, and they are racking up good numbers on the floor. Richards was a 9.75, Donaldson 9.8, Metz 9.7.
Watch, no hands, right to the floor. She's body is perfectly laid out. Such a pretty move for a tumbling skill.
On the beam now for Oregon State, Tracy Krover, her specialty. Last score for Amy Durham, a 9.8. That was OSU's best in this rotation.
Tracy's young, but come her senior year, I expect Tracy will be replacing Joy Seelig, who was lost to graduation this year. I think she's an up-and-coming.
She's just a sophomore. She and Shari Knight will be a terrific twosome in the next 2 years.
2 back handsprings to a layout. Very solid. She looks very sure of herself up there on the beam. 4 feet high, 16 feet long, 4 inches wide. There's some jump turns. Side aerial. Nice show of flexibility. If you can stretch that way, show it off for the judges and everybody to see.
She does it so crisply, too. Don't see any effort in her extension.
Her rhythm is very good on the balance beam. She moves from one skill to the next without a lot of hesitation. She's not cautious. Nice movement. Nice routine from Tracy Kroeber. Very solid.
Boy, these two teams doing it all tonight.
Tracy didn't hold back on anything in that routine, and the Beavers need that if they want to keep pace with Utah.
The crowd continuing to show its appreciation for Kroeber.
Here we see her dismount. Cartwheel layout to an immediate twist.
A 9-9.
Well-deserved score for Tracy Kroeber.
9-9, that is her career best and one of the best OSU scores ever in this event.
It's the best routine I've ever seen Tracy do on beam. Well-deserved score.
Well, Shelley Scher had a 9-9 on the floor for Utah. Now it's Kristen Knoyer's turn.
Here we see her first tumbling run. Double back pike, which is what all the Utah gymnasts have been opening with. Just a touch short on landing, maybe a half a tenth, not very much. She does some turning leaps and movements on the floor. Kristen always chooses very dramatic music, powerful music.
It's hard to believe that it all had to be, what, piano music? How many years ago?
It's been a while back when I competed. Still not allowed to have any singing in your routine. You must keep it instrumental. But they've let the gymnasts go to orchestration. Nice double turn. Here she gets ready for her dismount. An Arabian 1 1/4 to her stomach for finish. Good routine. Very powerful routine. She's a powerful gymnast.
If you thought winter was a waste of standard time, Prime Sports Northwest is going to change your mind. We're turning up the heat on your long winter nights. First, the NHL breaks the ice with slam-bang excitement all the way to the Stanley Cup. And when the college ranks face off, the emotions run hot and cold. NBA action takes you to new heights, and the Supersonic Silver Anniversary season is cooking. Plus, our live and Pac-10 men's and women's basketball puts your teams on the front burner all season long. And for more hoops, our network college action blankets the nation. If you want to get inside the game, our coaches shows lay it all on the line. And the MSL gives you as much soccer as you could want under one roof. Plus, we've got the Northwest's best collegiate competitors going head-to-head, toe-to-toe, and end-to-end. And when you're ready for the weather, we've got winter speed down cold. This winter, keep your sports fires burning on Prime Sports Northwest. Sponsored by Rainier Beer. Around here, it's Rainier.
If you're a sports fan or know a sports fan, check this out. Introducing new sports action watches designed for fans and lovers of almost any sport. Each watch features accurate quartz movement, but movement like no other watch you've seen. Golfers will love counting off the seconds till tee time as a golf ball floats around a golfer. Fishermen will be lured in by this watch. Football and baseball fans will always be ready for kickoff or first pitch. Choose from 12 sports in all, including hockey, skiing, soccer, basketball, tennis, bowling, cycling, and horseback riding. Each watch features a clever second hand depicting its sport, plus an exquisite genuine leather band with handsome artwork of the sport you choose. Sports action watches carry a full 1-year guarantee. Sports action watches, the perfect gift for any sports fan. Order now. At just $19.95, sports action watches are a perfect gift. Choose a sport. Use your credit card and call toll-free 1-800-253-1000 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $3 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. Sports action watches carry a full 1-year warranty and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now 1-800-253-1000.
We continue with the third rotation from Corvallis, Oregon State and Utah. Bob Akami and Judy Corwin with you. On the beam right now, Shari Knight.
So far, Shari has been flawless. I've seen her. Her move across the beam, high in the air on her leaps. Her tumbling has been excellent. Here we see her planche move.
This is always amazing to see.
It takes tremendous strength.
Now, Tracy Krover hit a 9.9, third best beam score in OSU history, and Shari may match or beat that.
She's had a solid routine so far, which is something that she didn't have in Seattle. I'm sure she wants to improve on that performance. Excellent routine for Shari. The gymnasts compete with themselves from meet to meet. Each meet they want to do a better job, and Shari's routine was outstanding. I didn't see a deduction.
And they are on their feet at Yo Coliseum. Shari Knight, a 9.95 in the Husky Invitational. Will she match it? The prelim is a 10. Let's see the dismount again.
We see two flip-flops into immediate full twist. 10-0 routine in Gill Coliseum. We've not seen that before, and that routine deserved it. It was flawless.
It is a 9.95. Best ever.
There's a 9.9.
And that matches Shari's record, which she set just last week.
What an outstanding gymnast.
And penalty for exercise is
OSU finishing strong on the bars, on the beam, 9.8, 9.9, and 9.95. Now finishing it up on the floor for Utah. Somebody who can put on quite a show, Missy Marlowe. Canoyer's score, by the way, a 9.85, the last competitor for Utah.
Missy is a great dancer as well as a tumbler, but she loves to dance. Very classical music to start out with.
When you look at her this year, it's hard to believe she could be any better. But you look at that muscle definition, she is in the best shape of her career.
That was a full twisting double back somersault, which we haven't seen from any of the gymnasts yet today. And we see that Missy Marlowe smile. Works herself into the next corner. Second tumbling run. Here it comes. With a full twist, I have a feeling she was supposed to do something more difficult there. And she may have missed it and just kept it simple. That's called a Shushanova, where the gymnasts go up in the air and land on their stomach. Here comes her dismount. A double back. Short on rotation. Had to put her hands down, and that's going to cost her 5/10.
Boy, and looking at the OSU coaching staff, a little sigh of relief almost.
Missy just gave the Beavers a break, and
That's
she
right.
may have also given Shari the lead in the all-around.
Well, I was looking at Jim Turpin and Dick Foxall. And you never want to show, really, you don't really show appreciation when the other team has trouble, but they know now they've got a chance.
Well, each gymnast competes against herself as well as for the team. And I'm sure that was a disappointing routine for Missy. We see her doing some floor work.
I got a prelim score of a 9.6, well below her best. get the official score coming up. As Utah has completed the floor, the Beavers are done on the beam. The score for Marlowe is in 9-5-5. The Beavers have a chance. We'll be back with the final rotation.
Our halls are filled with giants. Linus Pauling, class of 1922, internationally acclaimed scientist, scholar, advocate for peace, winner of 2 Nobel Prizes, a giant. Today, students at Oregon State University walk in his footsteps, studying.
Here's a flash. It'll be a big burst of light, but don't let it upset you.
Takes a top research university to challenge the capacity of giants. That's why Oregon's best have always looked to Oregon State.
Hold on, folks. Buckle up. Barkley for 3. Oh, no! If you love basketball, this is the show for you. Oh, my! The plays of the week, player profile, and magic moments from the past. It's all in NBA action.
If you're a sports fan situation,
the real human experience.
Be a part of it all with CNBC's The Real Story on Cox Cable.
It's live.
And night after night, it hits home with stories that affect all of our lives.
Expert reporters.
Incisive reviews.
And penetrating interviews.
38% of all students will be victim of a felony. And this is because colleges are not spending enough money on security.
The Real Story, Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. only on CNBC. It's on cable, Cox Cable.
Carpet Manufacturers Outlet is in their huge new store, and right now they have your carpet and vinyl flooring at incredibly low prices. You won't believe the outstanding selection of name brand carpet and flooring waiting for you, including wear-dated traffic-controlled carpet. The traffic control fiber system is specifically designed to fight matting, and it's backed by full 5-year wear and stain warranties. Wholesale prices, great selection, and quality, all for you at Carpet Manufacturers Outlet, centrally located at 528 East Trent.
Basketball on Prime Sports Northwest Wednesday as the Sonics take on the New Jersey Nets live at 4:30 in the afternoon Wednesday right here on Prime Sports Northwest. That is subject to blackout in some areas. Prime Sports Northwest would like to welcome the many TCI systems in Idaho and Montana. Prime Sports Northwest has merged with Prime Sports Intermountain West to become the prime-time sports programming source for systems in Burley, Pocatello, Idaho Falls, Salmon, Rexburg, and St. Anthony in the state of Idaho. In Montana, we welcome Anaconda, Billings, Bozeman, Butte, Dillon, Glasgow, Great Falls, Helena, Lewiston, Livingston, Miles City, and Missoula. Prime Sports Northwest will provide the new systems with greatly enhanced coverage of Pac-10 sports, the Big Sky, hockey, and more. So welcome aboard, all the folks in Montana and Idaho. Felt like I was reading a bus schedule there. Here's how the all-around stand. Oh, let's do the team score first. Looks like Utah's in good shape now as we go to the 4th rotation. Despite Missy Marlowe's 9-5-5, the other scores were more than enough to actually extend the Utah lead a bit. There we are through 3 rotations. In the battle for the all-around title, here's how we go in the final rotation. Utah on the beam. Shelley Scher, Missy Wells, Susan Metz, Kristen Kanoyer, Jenny Donaldson, and of course Missy Marlowe to wrap it up. OSU on the floor. Jennifer McMullen, Wendy Smith, Leslie Hammond, Tracy Crover, Amy Durham, and Shari Knight will wrap it up. Here we go on the beam. First for Utah, Shelley Scher. Scored 9-8 4 times in her career.
Shelley does a round off into mount. Round off to a flip-flop. You see her tumbling line, which is a back handspring to a layout. She's a little bit short on height. Maybe lose 1/10 on that move. There's some of her jump series. She had a little trouble with the first one. They didn't quite connect, but she should get credit for the second 2. Shelley's working more cautiously on the beam than I've seen her work before. Shoot up to a headstand, which isn't a real hard move. but it shows a little bit of creativity. Again, Utah wants to stick the beam routines, all 6 of them. Even though they have a fairly comfortable lead, 1 or 2 falls could cost them the meet.
Like you say, she looks a bit cautious. You can't be thinking of protecting a team lead when you're up there by yourself, or do you?
Sure you do. You want to go up there and stay on the beam. It's very important, particularly for the very first girl up, because then the scores can rise from there. Double full dismount. She had a large step on the landing and a little bit of leg break.
Now to the floor exercise, Oregon State's.
She had good difficulty in that routine, but just a little bit of rhythm break and worked very cautiously.
Get another look at Shelley.
There's her dismount, which is a double full. She'll work on smoothing that routine out, and I bet you by nationals it will be a 9-9 or better routine.
That's the only event she's never actually gone All-American in, so it's her last season. She's got to go make it a sweep for her career. Here's Jennifer McMullen on the floor for the first time this year for Oregon State. Again, the senior from Fair Oaks, California. They need her on the floor this year, too.
So the new choreography for Jennifer. She does some front tumbling, 1.5.
Little different flavor on the music. OSU will use a lot of the hard driving music, but Jim Turpin likes to mix it up, and you'll hear some jazzed up classical and also a little ethnic music. Crowd really gets into it, clapping along.
She's done a lot of dance moves up until this point. And she's getting ready for her next tumbling line. Front, through to another front layout, handspring. She's moved into the corner again for her dismount. She did a front handspring, front to a 1 1/4 to her stomach. She really had to cowboy her legs under in order to make that rotation.
That's a good first performance for OSU on the floor. Again, they probably need a little help if they're going to win the meet overall, but some good individual performances. Get another look here at McMullen's tumbling run. This is her last one.
Here's her last line. She does a front handspring, another front handspring. Watch her pull her legs around because she knows she's short, and if she wants to make it, she's got to pull hard.
That saves the day. It looks like a good prelim score of 9-7. Go back to the beam now for Utah. Missy Wells. Shelley Scher had a 9.45, by the way, the first Utah performance.
Another round-off entry mount. Her leap gymnastics series, combining leaping moves and tumbling moves.
Missy competed as an all-around at times last year, but had a slew of injuries to her back and her knee, and then had her appendix taken out, and that kind of kept her out of the regionals. They did not have her services in postseason. She's a sophomore from Spokane.
We just saw her gymnastics series, which was a round-off, which was 2 flip-flops to a layout, and then she showed some real nice ability. Pike jump to a Sasson jump. Side aerial. She's moving very well. Her rhythm is a little bit choppy, but she's got good difficulty. She should score well if she sticks her dismount. Round off double full. She has a large step on the landing, but it was a good routine.
I say that's certainly enough in the judge's mind to think good thoughts before you get to that little step on the dismount.
Well, we've seen 2 Utah performers. Both of them have stuck their routines. And their difficulty level have been higher than Oregon State's first two routines. There's her dismount, 2 twists on landing. We see the large step, so she'll lose a 10th or 2.
Up now for OSU on the floor, Wendy Smith, sophomore from North Brighton, Minnesota. First score for Jennifer McMullen was a 9-7.
We didn't see Wendy on the floor last year because of a knee injury. And yet it's one of her better events.
Well, she already PR'd against UCLA this year with a 9.65.
She's got a very dramatic routine for an opening. She's a powerful tumbler.
There you can see the knee brace.
Here's her first tumbling line. Front somersault to a double back.
Very nice.
She's a little unsure of her landing, which is why she didn't see the floor right away and had a bobble. But she'll get better at that move as she has more experience in her meets. Second tumbling line. Another double back. Good tumbling so far. The crowd getting into this routine, they'd sure like to see their team do well. An Arabian 1 1/4 to her stomach for a finish. Nice routine.
Boy, and you can tell Wendy enjoys competing this year again after 2 years of injuries. Big knee surgery last year on that right knee.
She's really wanted to be in the floor lineup, and she is a good tumbler.
And she gets great flight on her tumbling run.
Here we see her last tumbling line, which is an Arabian 1 1/4. Very high. Usually gymnasts that are good vaulters are also good tumblers.
Well, she's going to have her season best score for sure. We'll have it in a moment. It looks like at least a 9.8. Go over to the beam now, and Suzanne Metz, the freshman up. Last score for Missy Wells in the beam was a 9.6.
She opened with a cartwheel, handspring on one hand, and a nice side leap. Again, sideward moves are a little bit more difficult on the beam because you can't see the beam. It's blind. You can't see it to land. Back handspring way out, the large off balance. That'll cost her 5 tenths.
Utah making it interesting.
Full turn, then she moves down to the beam. Get her little creative moves into the routine. This young lady's going to be a good gymnast come her senior year. I can see why Coach Marsden is happy with this recruit. It's got lots of potential.
Greg was saying it's hard to tell week to week which of the freshmen is coming along further. Thought it was Trepanier, but Metz is here in the all-around tonight.
Here she's setting up for her dismount. She's a round off, double full. Except for a fall, she had a very nice routine.
Suzanne Metz again, the freshman for Utah. Well, right now, based on our first 2 scores, OSU is ahead by 5 1/100ths of a point. We're not done with this rotation, and the best is yet to come for both schools.
Here we see Suzanne loses her balance and just can't hold on to it. It's better that she take the fall than try and save that, because you can actually lose more deductions if you fumble around on the beam.
Leslie Hammond now on the floor for OSU. Wendy Smith scored a 9.75 with the averaging. And now Hammond, whose best event is the floor. She PR'd at the Husky meet.
She opens with a double back, very high, solid landing. This definitely is Leslie's best event.
Crowd behind her.
They're going to give Oregon State every ounce of energy that they can with their clapping and their cheers. Double full twist for a middle line. There's a turn, a slight little bobble on that turn, but it shouldn't cost very much. Leslie soaking up all the crowd enthusiasm as she gets ready for her last tumbling line. An Arabian 1 1/4 to her stomach. Good routine for Leslie Hammond. Should score well.
Boy, and her dance move looks so much better. Earlier in the year, her feet looked a little heavy in the dance moves, and she's loving it tonight. Again, the crowd on its feet for Leslie Hammond.
Very good job for Leslie.
Now Utah.
For Utah's Kristen Kanoyer.
Kristen Kanoyer, the big three coming up. Kanoyer, Donaldson, and Marlowe on the beam. The score for Metz, the last performance was a 9-1-5. They'll obviously throw that one out. And the crowd doesn't like Hammond's prelim score of 9-8.
Kristen mounts up right into a planche move, which takes a great deal of strength.
It is a 9-8 for Hammond.
There's her tumbling. Round off to a layout. Split jump to a back flip flop, where she goes right down onto the beam. Gets rid of that requirement for dance acrobatics. Nice show of flexibility there. And her combination of jumps. She's moving very well. She seems pretty comfortable up there on 4 inches.
There was some question if she would even compete tonight because of a strained quadricep.
Well, Utah sure needs her tonight, and needs a good performance from her.
Well, they got it.
Round off, full twisting, layout for a dismount with a solid routine.
They got it. Kristen Kanoyer competed in all 4 events tonight. There's Megan Marsden, assistant coach, in the middle of the congratulations. Kanoyer helping the Utes hang on. There's Tracy Crover now for Oregon. You talk about choreography. They've changed Tracy's routine since the beginning of the year. They told judges were saying it wasn't dramatic enough.
This is a brand new routine for Tracy. First time that she'll compete it tonight. And there's probably a few little butterflies in her stomach.
Yeah.
Your first tumbling line, a double back. She had a little step out of it, which might cost a half a 10. I have to admit, I do like this music for Tracy. I think it's a good choice on the coach's part. Second tumbling line is a double full to a punch front. She was short on rotation. She couldn't do anything but sit it down. And sometimes that type of thing will happen on a first-time routine. It's not quite up to polish. Double full twist for a dismount. Tracy's probably disappointed in herself. I'm sure she wanted to stick that middle line. But for a first time, for her to compete that routine, it was a good job.
It looked very good. Tracy Crover for OSU. We'll get another look at her last run.
Her last tumbling line, round off flip-flop, double full twist to a finish.
And now for Utah, Jenny Donaldson, one of the Utes' aces on the beam. She scored 985 twice in her career.
She jumps up to a split mount. Back handspring layout. A little bit off balance, but she fought to stay on. Her leap series. Handstand, showing control and balance.
By the way, the last Utah performer on the beam, Kristen Knoyer, scored a 9.8.
Jenny's working very solidly on the beam. There's her dance, acrobatics.
Nice little save there. She came back up.
Was a back handspring with a half twist. You don't see it too often on the balance beam. And I'm sure she's getting ready for her dismount. Which she just missed. She's going to try it again. Two back handsprings to a full twist. That's a judgment call on the gymnast's part. Do you take the deduction for no dismount, or do you take the fall? So Jenny decided to go back and try it again.
And it's a tough fall when you're going over backward, too. Let's see how she started out this routine.
Goes into an immediate free split using no hands. Here's her dismount. Back handspring twice with a full twist.
Now made sure she did it right the second time. Now for OSU on the floor, the record holder, 9-9 in the Husky Invitational, Amy Durham.
Amy's a great tumbler. She loves to go high. It's her double back, wide open, great height. Really enjoying the crowd's enthusiasm as they clap right along with her, doing some turning leaps. This is her second tumbling line. It's a double full twist, very high. She's doing a nice job so far. She's just sparkling out there. Comes her last tumbling run. Front to a 1 1/4. Nice routine for Amy Durham. Very solid. And that'll make up for Tracy Crover's fall.
I'd say Amy Durham wants to make them forget about Joyce Seelig, too. Great start for her this year.
Amy really has to work on her execution, and she did an outstanding job here.
One of the judges showing a 9-9 in the crowd.
There's her double twist, very high, very solid. And here comes her last tumbling line. Front to a front handspring, immediate, a 1 1/4 somersault.
And it is a 9-9 again tying the OSU record.
Great routine for Amy.
Well, as of the last performance, I've got the meet score dead even.
What an outstanding meet for this crowd. To watch two of the best teams in the United States go head-to-head in dual competition. Missy's very solid so far. Missy's such a graceful gymnast, and it really pays off on balance beam. With a back handspring to a layout somersault. She's working very well. The kick over layout.
Oh my.
That's going to cost her 5/10.
OSU may have just won the meet.
In a meet like this, every 10th counts, and balance beam is the make or break event.
And
9 times out of 10.
And you know, Jenny Donaldson's routine, they did deduct 2/10 for the missed dismount, so she scored only 9.35.
Here comes Missy's dismount. Round off double back. She has a couple steps on the landing, which will probably cost her another 10. I'm sure that Missy is very disappointed. OSU has a chance to take the lead here.
Well, right now, through 5 performances apiece, OSU has the lead.
Well, we'll see what they give Missy as a score for her routine. Here's her dismount. Nice double back. You see she takes 2 or 3 steps on the landing and a little bit of disappointment in her face.
Here's Shari Knight. She's got a great chance to win the all-around. 9.6. She can show up and score a 9.6. Missy Marlowe was a 9.3.
You remember in the World University trials, Shari had a really bad floor routine. And we haven't seen her miss a floor routine since. Determination is set in for this young lady.
And she had competed very well on the floor last year before that.
Very well. So far, she's doing just a dynamite job. Another double back. She's out of balance. It's going to cost her a 10th. You get a 10th for each leg or arm that goes out beyond the blue line. This is a fun room for Shari. Fun routine. It's a new routine for her, and she has a great time doing it. Combines her classical style with a little bit of rhythm and personality. Here comes her last line. Make it solid. She only did a full twist in her last tumbling line. I'm not sure that that's what she intended to do. But it should be good enough.
7,000 Beaver fans show their approval. Biggest crowd to ever see a regular season meet here at Gill Coliseum. 7,014 are attendance.
Here's her middle tumbling line. She does a double back. Real solid.
And the very end of the routine.
She does a full twist for her final move, which is not what she normally finishes with.
And it appears that the Beavers have knocked off Utah for the 2nd straight year. We'll be back with the final numbers and wrap this meet up after this timeout.
Tell me. I know you know.
The 1964.5 must his toughest challenge. A vicious hitters coming on strong. A running replica of the design of this American favorite that is actually a working telephone. Introducing the 64.5 Classic Convertible Telephone, a meticulous recreation of this famous design that is both a valuable collectible and a one-piece telephone. This FCC-approved phone features a tone pulse option, last number redial, a non-slip tire base. It's hearing aid compatible, and when someone calls, the headlights flash and the horn honks. The Classic Convertible Telephone is perfect for home or office and makes a great gift. The Classic Convertible Telephone is available through this exclusive television offer for a limited time only for just $29.95. So to avoid disappointment, order your 1964.5 Classic Convertible Telephone now. To order your 64.5 Classic telephone, use your credit card and call toll-free 1-800-344-2211 or send check or money order for $29.95 plus $4.85 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. Choose from either red or black. Call 1-800-344-2211. Rush delivery available. Call now.
Yeah. So I dropped by my buddy Jack's house the other day. I find him with a strange expression on his face, which can only mean one thing. He's thinking. I'm tired of having to read everything to keep up with sports, he says. I'm no Evelyn Wood, you know. This from a man who thinks C-Spot Run is a tongue twister. Hey, I said, there's one place you can get it all. The Sporting News. It's the only magazine that gives you baseball, football, hoops, and hockey 52 weeks a year. It's got stats like you've never seen, and reports on every team, even off-season. To top it all off, the Sporting News has awesome special issues, and they don't cost you a penny more. Sounds like the Sporting News is all I need. So what's it gonna cost me? Look, just call this toll-free number. You get a whole bunch of issues for just a few bucks. You can spread out payments, even charge it. Gee, Jack says, I can get it all in the Sporting News and get the best deal around? For a brief, thrilling moment, the wind whistling between Jack's ears was stilled.
The Sporting News, more than just the score.
Is Shari Knight from Oregon State.
NHL hockey coming your way on Prime Sports Northwest. Friday, live at 6:30, the New York Islanders and the Edmonton Oilers. The pucks fly here on Prime Sports Northwest. Well, this record crowd at Gill Coliseum is about to go wild because the Beavers have beaten Utah for the second consecutive year. It is Utah's only third defeat in 3 years of dual meets, and the Beavers have done it with one of their best scores ever.
2 defeats to Oregon State on their home court. I have a feeling that Utah is going to be gun-shy about coming back to Gill Coliseum.
And a great night for Shari Knight as she wins the all-around against some great competitors like Shelley Scher and Missy Marlowe. And look at Amy Durham with that 49-1, taking second in the all-around. They have just announced the Beavers have won the meet. For the second consecutive year, the Beavers have knocked off the #1 rated team in the country.
What a great performance for Oregon State University. Shari Knight was a key. Here we see her on the balance beam where she scored a 9.95. She was solid right on in every move that she did. Here's her tumbling line with 2 flip-flops to a layout, and she's right there, solid, not a move.
Knight scores a 9.95, tying her own school record. And the big performance on the floor here was by Amy Durham, a solid 9.9. That ties the school record.
She gave a beautiful performance. Here we see her on a double back, which was sky high. A 9.9 performance for Amy, and that sure helped the Beavers.
Now, you talk about what Utah did tonight. Obviously, they were trying some tougher routines, and they lost the meet because they fell off the beam a couple of times. But Utah is doing some very difficult things right now. You can see the Utes are getting in championship shape already.
Well, many times the meet will come down to the balance beam routines and who can stick beam and who falls off. Utah tried some skills tonight, and they missed a couple, and it cost them the meet.
So tonight, Oregon State in front of the biggest crowd ever to watch a regular season gymnastics meet here, 7,014. They all go home happy as the Beavers knock off the University of Utah again for the second straight year. Utah has only lost 3 dual meets in 3 seasons. 2 of them have been here.
That's right. What an exciting meet for this crowd of 7,000 people. Nobody really was a loser. All the gymnasts gave their best, and we really saw a good dual competition. More to come from Oregon State, more to come from Utah.
And we've got another OSU gymnastics meet coming your way Saturday, February 22nd, 2:30 in the afternoon, as the Stanford Cardinal comes to town to take on the Beavers here on Prime Sports Northwest. Stay tuned for Winter Speed World Cup Luge, followed by men's college basketball action as the Stanford Cardinal takes on the Washington Huskies. Up next on Prime Sports Northwest. That'll do it from Corvallis. For Judy Corwin, I'm Bob Akamian. Thanks for joining us. A historic night as a record crowd watches Oregon State knock off Utah in women's gymnastics. So long, everybody.
The next home meet for Oregon State Gymnastics.